Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report is your preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda and an update from your Oshkosh City Manager. Your hosts, Emily Mikowski of Oshkosh Community Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Thank you for joining us on your City Manager's Report, your source for all the local things happening in your city government, as well as some hot items that are happening in your city here. Preview of the upcoming City Council meeting agenda and a chance to ask your City Manager a question about anything happening here in Oshkosh. So I'm your host, Emily Mikowski, joined by, as always, our City Manager, Mark Roloff. So Mark, first of all, thank you, as always, for joining us today.
Great to be here, Emily.
It's been a little while since you've been here, actually. I know we missed you at State of the City, and then you were out of town for a little while there, so it's excellent to have you back.
Yeah, happy to be here. I'm glad, because I missed State of the City for some really nasty reasons.
Yes, so we're happy you're healthy and
rested.
Yes.
Ready to go.
So we're going to go ahead and dive into the first half of the show, some hot topics going on here in Oshkosh, take a little break, and then we'll return with the review of the council meeting agenda for Tuesday, April 28th, 2015. So Mark, the first thing we want to talk about is a really cool thing happening here in Oshkosh. We've talked about it in prior episodes of City Manager's Report, and it's the Inclusive Park. They recently had their groundbreaking, actually earlier this week.
Right, and this project has been in the works for such a long time. So the folks, Pam DeLapp, who was one of the folks leading the charge with a citizens group, the Oshkosh Area Community Foundation, of course our Parks Department, Ray Maurer, our Parks Director. It was a very nice event, and we got the right location. We got a lot of great fundraising done. Council stepped up with funding that they committed to several years ago, and we are so excited to have this Inclusive Park project done. I know a lot of communities are starting to pick up on it, and it does. It's not cheap. It's about $275,000, but half of those funds were raised privately, and so we're very proud to be partnering with so many great groups to get this done.
And that's what's so special about this is, like you said, all the different people that have taken part in this. The community has really come together to make this happen, and it's right over in the South Park area, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And it's not just people think it's for disabled kids, but it's also for grandparents and parents who may be disabled that they normally can't play with their kids because they can't access the playground as well. So it really is meant for all ages and groups. And they probably should have picked a day where the ground wasn't so hard. So they were
like
trying
it was a little tough
to
get the shovels in there.
Fortunately, there's an excavator there that's after they left. So the ground really did get broken. But we're hoping to get this done by May. It's going to go very quickly, and so we'll be able to enjoy the inclusive playground this summer.
Yes, and I don't know if we have any of the renderings of the park, but you can find those. Oh yes, there we go. They are also on Facebook. They've got a couple different views of it. So that's a little preview of what it's going to look like, which is really cool. All kinds of different things on there. And like you said, it's available to not only people who have disabilities, but also, grandparents, parents who might not be able to make it out onto the playground with their kids and grandkids.
Wonderful. It's going to have a rubberized surface, so actually it puts a little spring in your step if you're walking on it, but it is for every age, every ability, and they're fun. They're just flat out fun parks for people. I think the community as a whole will see this as a wonderful addition to South Park. We're doing the restrooms there as well, so new restrooms, new inclusive park. We've got a lot of neat things going on at South Park with the new park plan that's been in place.
Yes, really looking forward to that coming, to fruition. So, looking at the construction of these parks, it segues nicely into our next topic. It is spring, which means it's also construction season, moving into construction season, you could say. So we've got, I'm sure a lot of citizens have noticed some projects that have started, one of those being the convention center parking lot, another item that we've talked about previously, and they are just flying on this project right now.
They really are. Well, we put some incentives in there. This is technically called Riverside Park Phase 2 because Riverside Park is adjacent to the convention center. This is the parking lot that is used for the Leach Amphitheater. So our goal is to get this done very quickly because we want to get it done before the Chamber's Waterfest concert series starts, and our goal is to have it done the week before Waterfest starts. So
Yes.
we're excited about that. You can see already that they've already completed the basic excavation. One of the problems with this area, the challenge is that the cost was a little pricier, was the old soil down there is a lot of fill that was not natural. So there's a lot of junk in there. Not contamination that we're concerned about, just very poor quality soil. Sawdust was thrown in there in the old days. So it's getting it to make sure that it's good and solid when we get it done. So you can see the progress is there. We're anticipating it'll be done by June 9th. And this will also free up parking so that the convention center can use it. And also, so some of the other, through the bumping effect, City Center office park with for Imprint expanding, we'll have some extra parking there. Plus in the evenings for all our concerts at the Leach. So it's really going to serve multiple purposes.
Yes, well, really looking forward to that beautiful new parking lot, and I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say that it was definitely needed, especially with that new parking lot right next to it. You could definitely tell the difference. Something else that I know a lot of people have talked about really needing is the New York Avenue, that whole street. A lot of complaints about that, and that one's actually finally getting hit pretty hard here too.
This is phase 2 of New York Avenue. You know, a couple years ago we started over it literally at the Fox River and worked east, and this takes over just past Elmwood, going farther to the east to about Wisconsin Avenue. I know that the part from Wisconsin to Jackson or Maine still needs to get done. That'll be phase 3 a couple years down the road, but you can just see the condition of this, and look at that poor car just bumping along. This was one of our collector streets, that probably one of the worst collector streets in the city. So it was long overdue. New York Avenue is, even though it's a residential street on the face, it is a busy street. A lot of people from the west side use it to cut across to get over to Menominee Park. The university community uses it. I use New York Avenue quite a bit, and I don't even live in that neighborhood. You can see some of the what looks to be rail ties. So
Yes.
a lot of old junk underneath that street. It has been a long time. Yeah, I don't think that was even it was barely last century that those rail cars were there. So we find a lot of stuff when we're doing this, and we haven't done it for a long time. So we're very happy that this is getting done. I know it's going to be an inconvenience for people in this neighborhood, but you know, Wisconsin Avenue's open, Congress is open, so find different ways to get around, and I promise you, you will be happy with the final product that we're going to be putting out there.
Yes. So what are we looking at for this one time-wise? When will this section or this phase be wrapping up? Hopefully by the end of summer?
Oh, it will be by the end of
Okay.
summer. You know, we'd love it to happen before school starts. I really can't guarantee that because it is a very extensive project. So, but I always say most of these contractors are deer hunters. They'll be done before deer hunting season, I assure you of that. But ideally, it'd be great if we could get it done by fall, but they have enough wiggle room in their contract that they can extend it if weather or unforeseen circumstances come up.
Wonderful. So wrapping up on all that construction talk, now we've got kind of a fun little topic that we want to mention. Someone here at the city has been nominated for the 4 Under 40 competition, you could say, for the Northwestern, and it's our very own Elizabeth Williams from the Planning Department. So congratulations to her.
Oh, absolutely. Liz and the whole planning staff, but Liz got nominated by the Millers Bay Association. Millers Bay has been very active, and Liz and the entire staff from planning have been active in getting neighborhoods engaged. And that's the story that needs to be told, that our neighborhoods are vibrant and our staff is available to do that. Liz gives a lot of her time on off hours to be there, and I think that's why they feel so strongly about it. We've had a lot of neighborhood engagement, police department, fire department, and also our planning division and other departments, because we want to be actively engaged. And the more the neighbors are engaged, the safer the neighborhood's going to be, the cleaner, all these wonderful things. So,
and you can really tell the difference, I mean, over the years with how much work everybody's been putting into the neighborhoods. I mean, I've only been here for about 2 years, but just talking to people, they can tell you about the transition that Oshkosh has gone through in the neighborhoods, and it's really gone in a positive direction.
Community pride is a hallmark to a successful neighborhood, and we're instilling community pride. And Millers Bay, which is celebrating their 3rd anniversary as a neighborhood association, they've been active, and they've set the bar for other neighborhood groups. They've even gotten Emmeline Cook in their neighborhood, their schools involved. They want to be engaged in making their neighborhood better, and it really is. It's a wonderful neighborhood, and we've got about 9 neighborhood associations already started. So you can talk to Liz or Alexa and get a neighborhood started. And if you want to vote for Liz, you can go to the Northwestern website. We'll plug for Liz a little bit, but what that really says is we've got some wonderful people under age 40. The future of Oshkosh is very bright because we have some very committed individuals. So you can vote for Liz or anybody who's up for the 4 under 40 or the 2 under 20 through the Northwestern website.
Yes, just I think it's thenorthwestern.com. And if you are interested in starting a neighborhood program, feel free to give the planning department a call at 236-5059. You can talk to Liz or Alexa about getting the ball rolling with that. I know they've been doing a great job, so we got to commend them for that. Mark, another item that we want to talk about here is we always have our Go EDC, the Greater Oshkosh Economic Development Corporation update. Now, something that we want to mention here is we announced this at the State of the City. They had just awarded their first revolving loan fund, and construction's actually already began on that.
Right. The company is really the issue now. Offbeat Press is the company. They're on Bayshore Drive, and they're started their work. They received a $75,000 revolving loan fund loan, and we're excited that we got our first loan award out through Go EDC, and that's part of what they do, identify where the needs are. Bill Wyman, the chair of the board for Go EDC, announced it at the brand launch back in March. Jason White, our new CEO of Go EDC, is on board, and just talking to businesses and finding out what their needs are. It may not be a revolving loan, it may not be a loan fund, it may be conventional financing, some other type of financing, it may be workforce issues. Whatever the needs are, Go EDC will be there to take care of it.
Right, and we got to ask too, for those of us who don't know, what exactly is a revolving loan fund and how does that work?
A good question. You'll hear the term RLF, that's revolving loan fund. What it is we've been taking funds from TIF districts that have been closing, and whatever money's left gets distributed to the various governmental entities. In the city's case, our long-range finance committee recommended to council that we keep using that for a revolving loan fund. And what happens is it's a loan fund that we can loan money to businesses that need a little bit a gap filled. So we kind of bridge the gap that they need to get a project underway. And then as they pay us back, replenishes the fund, and then we can go out and loan even more money. Our goal is to get about $2.5 million in this fund to be able to provide these types of financing tools for businesses that want to expand. It's not even for new businesses coming in from out of town. It's somebody in town that wants to do, has a new business idea, or in the case of Offbeat Press, they want to expand. Expanding businesses are wonderful. That's true economic development when you grow within the community, and Offbeat Press is a great example of that. And we're glad that they're committed to Oshkosh and they're staying here.
Definitely. Well, and this is just the start. Like you said, this is only the first one, but hopefully there'll be many more to come as the revolving loan fund continues. And Offbeat Press, it is a really cool business here in Oshkosh, so we're looking forward to seeing lots of success from them. So that's going to do it for the first half. Now it's time where viewers have the chance to ask their city manager anything they want about things that are happening right here in Oshkosh. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the question mark is this week. Mark, so the question this week is, when does the spring yard waste / brush pickup begin? So it's kind of a timely one here. So what do you got to say on that one?
Well, we've had some nice weather, so people are starting to clean up their yards. Actually, the spring cleanup begins next week. April 27th it starts, and you can start, putting out putting out yard waste on your regular garbage day. It's yard waste and leaves only, so branches and stuff are okay. The material, if it's not the branches, if it's loose stuff, it has to be in biodegradable bags. Information's there on our website, but it starts that we're going to be doing it every week from April 27th to May 15th.
That's the spring cleanup.
That's spring cleanup. That's
Okay.
getting rid of all your stuff from the winter. And then it'll start the first week of the month, and we'll get more information on that later, or you can check our website. But it's those are kind of the general rules. And if you're not, if you don't have the ability to put it out for garbage day, we still have our yard waste drop-off site. It's in a new location on the same site. It's, the central garage is now the field operations facility. You don't enter off of Idaho anymore. You enter off of West 3rd Avenue. That's right between Idaho and Ohio Street. Same hours as we've had previously.
Yes.
That's been open since April 1st. So you can bring that, you bring it right now. And it's going to be open through the end of November. There's our hours, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 10 to 6 on weekends. So,
And you do need a permit for that, so you can get those right at City Hall or over at Kits and File on Main. And I'm not sure the cost
it's
of that.
$25,
$25.
and you just reminded me I need to go get mine. So I better do it before this weekend.
So that's also a great resource here in the city for people to use. So great answer. Hopefully people are getting out there and starting their spring gardening and yard work and things like that. So very timely question for this week's question, Mark. So if you'd like to give a question to Mark, you can send it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it right here on the next episode of City Manager's Report. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive into the City Council meeting agenda for this Tuesday, April 28th. We'll be right back on City Manager's Report.
Want to know what's happening in local government? Stay in the know with City of Oshkosh government meetings, live on TV, City Cable 10, online at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org, and on community radio WOCT 101.9 FM. Miss the live coverage? No problem. Catch replays on City Cable 10. Stream online from oshkoshcommunitymedia.org or visit youtube.com/Oshkosh Community Media Services.
On the surface, the simple pleasures in life are going on all around us. But inches beneath the surface, utility lines are carrying electricity, gas, and more to your home. Digger's Hotline helps avoid costly or dangerous mistakes. It doesn't matter how deep you're digging, call 811 or click diggershotline.com 3 working days before you start your project, and we'll help take the risk out of digging. Protect your simple pleasures. Know what's below.
Welcome back to your City Manager's Report. Thanks again for joining us. Now we're going to go ahead and hit the council meeting agenda for April 28th, 2015. Mark, first thing that we want to talk about is right in the beginning of the meeting is the presentation by the council member candidates. Now we've elected a new mayor, and with that comes a vacancy.
Right. So we've done this a couple times over the last couple of years where the candidates present themselves before council. They've all applied. We're down to 9 candidates as of now. They'll make a brief presentation, about 5 minutes, question and answers from the council to the candidates. Then the public is permitted to give some input if they so choose on that individual candidate. And they'll just go through that, and then they'll decide how they want to select that person. There's a variety of different methods with 9 candidates. It may take a few minutes to sort through that, but it's very exciting. We've got 9 people, and that person will immediately be seated and start working as a council
They're
member.
putting them to work right away.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they can appoint that person at the meeting, or they can choose to appoint them later on, or is it got to be done that meeting?
No, it doesn't have to be done
Okay.
right away. It's really up to them. It's with 9 candidates. If that makes it more difficult, they may want to take more time. That's certainly their option. Usually, they have done it right there at the meeting that they interview the candidates. I think it's fresher in their minds, and so
Right.
they can vote with a little more current information.
Excellent. Well, we're looking forward to meeting our new council members soon. Next item we want to talk about, number 6, Resolution 15-202. That's approved dissolving tax incremental district number 9, and that's dealing with the TIF funds that we were talking about in the first half of the show. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, sure. This tax increment district number 9 is along Washburn Street. It was that area where a lot of the car dealerships are that
Yes.
go all the way down to Plainview. Been a very successful tax increment district, and when the TIF district is dissolved, there are funds left, and so those funds get distributed to the taxing entities who have been foregoing those tax dollars for all those years. That includes the city as well as the school district, the county, and the technical college. So those funds get redistributed, and in the first half of the show, we did talk about the revolving loan fund. This is part of that. TIF 9 is one of the tools that we're going to use to get ourselves up to $2.5 million in our revolving loan fund. So what happens after it's dissolved is we have to do an audit to figure out exactly how much money is left, and there's a formula by state law that you distribute the dollars to the different entities. So we've got a pretty good idea. It's going to be close to $1 million that the city will receive, and the school district will receive a similar amount, and then the county and technical college.
Excellent. Well, very interesting to hear the process behind that we talked about in the first half. Mark, next 2 items, 8 and 9, we want to talk about together. That's approving to authorize not exceeding $19,485,000 in the general obligation bonds for the city of Oshkosh. And I do recall talking about how they had set an $11.4 million limit for general obligation. So this is a little bit higher than that. Maybe you can explain to us why.
Yeah, it's a lot higher, and the reason for that is in addition to our borrowing, which was capped at $11.4 million, and happy to say we're actually under that amount, but we're actually refinancing. It's called a refunding, but we're refinancing some bonds because the bonds that we are looking to pay off, the interest rate is much higher than what we believe we can get on the market. We're going to, when we ultimately open the bids, we'll compare that and see if we can achieve some savings. We believe we can save several $100,000 by refunding these old bonds with new bonds. And if you can save a few $100,000, it's well worth it. So that's why the number's a little, as you said, a lot higher. It's quite a bit more, and there's also some notes. So
Yes.
truth is we're really going to be issuing close to $24 million in debt, but we're going to be paying off about $13 million in old debt off at the same time, so we'll net
Kind of
out.
cancels each other out a
Cancel
little bit.
each other out, and we're going to be paying less in debt service, which is always a great thing.
Yes. So overall, very positive move we're making here.
Yeah, and we borrow to fund a lot of our capital improvement projects. The New York project that we just talked about,
Got some stormwater projects, it looks like.
a lot of stormwater projects, a lot of the sewer projects. The water tower is getting borrowed. That's part of it as well. That's all part of the process to fund our improvements, which are really intended for lives of 20 years or more. So that's why you borrow, and then you spread the payments out so that people that don't even live in Oshkosh today will be contributing to part of that as well.
Wonderful. Next item we want to talk about, item number 13, Resolution 15-209. And this is approval of a purchase of some wetland credits here. This is at 9th and Washburn area for that stormwater detention basin. Can you tell us a little bit about what exactly this is and what project it's for?
This is a project that 9th and Washburn, we purchased some property there a few years ago. It's kind of behind the restaurants and hotels on South Washburn, just south of 9th. We purchased the land, and then as we went through the process, there were some wetlands that were identified. They're not big, but there's enough there that normally you have to either avoid those wetlands, or you can do what's called mitigate, and basically purchase some land that has been converted into wetlands, you buy that from the state of Wisconsin as a credit against the wetlands that you're going to destroy. So they create wetlands, and we buy those wetlands from them so that we can get rid of some other wetlands.
And make up for the other ones.
Correct. And so that's what we're doing. We want to get this project going this year. So the idea is we buy these credits. So we have to get the credits approved before we can plan on doing this project.
Okay, so, and we're hoping to try and start this year, you said?
Our goal is to still do it this year. That could get held back. It depends, but we still have some other requirements that we have to follow with the Department of Natural Resources. The wetlands is just one of those things, but that will help in the, it's still the Sawyer Creek area, so it's a great benefit to control flooding in that area.
Wonderful. Next item that we want to talk about, I kind of find very interesting, is the fiber optic splicing trailer. This is number 26, Resolution 15-222, and it's a award bid. So this one, it's about $26,000. Maybe you can explain to us a little bit about what exactly this is.
Well, we have a fiber optic network throughout the city. It really helps carry voice and data for many needs, including public safety and other needs that we have throughout the city to get from City Hall to our other facilities and back. And so one of the things is with fiber optics is when it goes down, it's down completely. And so we need to be very quick with our responses. And the splicing trailer, the idea for that is if we have to take something down because we know it needs some maintenance or some improvements, the trailer is intended for us to get all our equipment there so we can fix it very quickly. We hope it never happens, we cross our fingers, but in the event that we did have something get broken, we would be able to respond very quickly and everything's right there, fix it and get it back online, because when our data's out, that can put public safety at risk. It just can cost money. So we want to make sure that any downtime is kept to an absolute minimum.
Yes, and it's just so interesting to think of all the different fiber optic cables going throughout the city and how valuable that is to us. So definitely something that's needed and that would be taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So Mark, another item we want to talk about is a workshop. Item number 38 in the future agenda items is on road diets. Now this is coming up on May 12th at 4, but maybe you can tell us first what exactly road diet is.
Well, road diet is actually taking a look at a road that you can't widen any more than it already is, but there's other needs that are there primarily for bike and pedestrian facilities. Bike lanes were not always anticipated with a lot of the roads that we have in Oshkosh. In some cases, we have some 4-lane roads that we've taken a look at, and if we can put them on a diet and skinny them up, we can replace 4 lanes with 3 lanes, but then add parking or bike lanes so that we can accommodate more diverse type of traffic. You got to be careful with that, because when you go from 4 to 3 lanes, you really have 1 lane in each direction and then a lane that is essentially a turning lane. So it does, you got to make sure it doesn't compromise congestion on the road. So we've taken a look at this at the Traffic Review Board, and they want to have a workshop with the council and the Plan Commission to discuss their findings. There are some downsides that they want to explain. Some people came and talked to the Traffic Review Board about those things, but it's a workshop, and we figured bring everybody together at one time to hear all about it.
Yes, get everybody in one room. And so that's coming up on May 12th at 4 p.m. Last thing we want to just mention here is a presentation on the Marion Road Water Tower design. Date is to be determined, but what exactly is this part of the process here?
We've been having meetings over the last few months with representatives of the public about input about what they would want the water tower to look like. The location is pretty much set for Marion Road for the system to operate efficiently and to keep replacement costs to a minimum. Marion Road's the place to go. This is what I call the old Pettigoat Junction Tower. Now that's, that dates me a little bit, but a very old water tower. Water towers for some people are very unsightly, so we want to make sure that the public gets some input on this.
Wonderful. So that's going to do it. We're just about out of time here. So Mark, thanks as always for joining us today on City Manager's Report.
Happy to.
Again, the City Council meeting is this Tuesday, April 28th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on City Cable 10 and on our website at oshkoshcommunitymedia.org. You can also listen to it on the radio at 101.9 WOCT, which is also now online and on the TuneIn Radio app. Don't forget, if you have a question for Mark, send it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of City Manager's Report. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.